Hello, this is wmpyr. For today's lesson, I want to share some tips for you guys for single stick and double stick. So let's go ahead and start with single stick. The first thing is we're going to start with stance. Okay, so the stance is the hand that's holding the weapon. Okay, I don't care which hand it is. The hand that's holding the weapon, we want that in the front. And that also means the same side leg. So this is my right hand, also my right leg is to the front, okay? The reason why we're doing this is because we want to develop fundamentals this way, and to put it simply, just think like European fencing, okay? So this is kind of like your stance, where you have the weapon side to the front, and also that same side leg is also to the front. So just think of it like that. This hand right here, for now, we want it out of the way, so just put it on top of your heart. And now that's not to say that you can't fight from here, where the weapon side is to the back and the opposite leg is in the front. Of course we can, but as a beginner, you definitely want to start with developing a foundation. So the foundation, just think, is fencing, all right? So the next thing is the angles of attack form. The 5 angles of attack is what I like to start off with, and I do recommend it. It is diagonal, diagonal, horizontal, horizontal, and then stab. Nice and easy to remember because it's so short. Now, for a beginner, I totally recommend that you exaggerate the motions. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to put in a full swing for each one of those movements. Okay, so let me demonstrate. So right now, like this, weapon side to the front, right? Same side leg to the front, this hand right around here. Okay, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. I exaggerated the motions, and the reason why I'm doing that is because if you watch, let me do number 1. So boom, see, I turned my body all the way. It turned my hips, turned my shoulder, okay, and it did a complete follow through all the way to where the stick ended up right here, okay? So you want that kind of body mechanics. You want to develop the body mechanics that way. And I know for right now, it's like, no, I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you do. You want to get there for sure. But if you exaggerate the motions first, you will learn the proper body mechanics. And as you get better and better, your movements will start to become more efficient, which also means more compact. That's just a natural phenomenon. So don't worry about trying to make it look like maybe you've seen some people do on YouTube. Right now, I suggest go ahead and exaggerate the motions just so that you could learn the body mechanics. Boom, boom, like this. You want this kind of body mechanic where turning this way rather than using arm, okay? So by going boom like this, I got to make sure I have a solid grip because I'm doing a full swing, full follow through. So if I don't have a solid grip, the stick's gonna go flying out. So you gotta make sure you have a solid grip. The key is to have a solid grip, but your arm is as relaxed as you can. So if you watch me do it again, boom, my arm's relaxed. You don't see me go, you know, it's not like that because I'll tire myself out, and I want to use body mechanics, not arm muscle, okay? So that is what you're trying to develop there. And believe me, as you put in the repetitions, it'll start to become more and more, you know, compact. 1, 2, 4, you know, you'll be able to move like that, but that does take time, okay? Everything starts to become more and more efficient. So that's the way to practice the angles of attack. The next thing is you've probably seen, you know, techniques like that where it involves circular motions, and a lot of people want to practice that stuff because it looks cool. But please keep in mind that at least the way that I learned Filipino martial arts and the way that I teach Filipino martial arts, nothing is for looking cool, and none of it is also for intimidation. I don't care if the opponent is intimidated or not. That has nothing to do with anything. I want strategy. I want skill. So everything that we do, even the ones that look super fancy like this, okay, this kind of fancy movement, there is combat purpose in each one of those flashy looking movements. So in other words, nothing is for flash. Everything is for practical combat purposes. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Now, before you jump, a lot of people want to jump right into that because once again, it looks cool. I recommend that don't do that and just go ahead and work on this kind of basic where you are working on wrist rotations first, okay? So work on this, you're going forwards, you could also go backwards, and it's like you're jump roping, okay? You're using the jump rope, but this is an excellent exercise before you start trying to do stuff like that. You gotta make sure that you have this down. And what this does is it improves your wrist articulation. And the idea here is not to open your hand like this. This we don't want to do this, okay? Because if you compromise your grip, you could easily drop your weapon. And if you drop your weapon, you're going to be in big trouble. So you want to have a solid grip, but still be able to have wrist articulation like this. You still want to be able to move like so, but I never opened my grip, okay? Now, one thing I do want to mention is that later on, and you will probably see, you could see some advanced Filipino martial arts practitioners, and they have open grips, okay? Please keep in mind that keyword, advanced. Those guys are advanced, and they know the timing of when to do it, when not to do it, because it can offer some benefits to have a more open grip. But for a beginner, you're right now, your objective should be to have a solid grip, yet still have wrist articulation. That is what should be important for your development right now at this point. So have as much as possible a closed grip. Okay, so last but not least is double stick and arm weaving. There is a lot of different patterns of arm weaving, okay? The most famous one, of course, is the Heaven Six, right? The most famous one is the Heaven Six, but once again, there is so many variations that you can do. You can go this way, I mean, you can go 1, 2, this way. I mean, you know, once again, you know, there is so many different versions that you can do, and part of it in your training is to practice those different versions, is to seek them out and think them up and figure some out and practice all that, okay? That's all great, but especially for a beginner right now, I think more important than to pursue variations is just do the Heaven Six, the most basic one, the Heaven Six. And the reason being is because when you do the Heaven Six, it really focuses on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It really focuses on a right side and a left side. If you notice the way that I'm doing it right here, starting stance right here, 1, 2, and then top to bottom, that's number 3. And then 4, 5, 6 is the same thing, 4, 5, and then number 6 is top to bottom. And we're back to where we started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. When I do the number 1, notice I turn 2 and 3, and when I do number 4, 4, 5, and 6, I turn again. So this turning motion, this body mechanic is important, and then as you start getting better with it, it's going to start to look like this. Okay, so when it looks like this, if you guys can see, there is a circle over here, and there's a circle over here, boom, 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 boom. And you can see that I'm still doing the side-to-side type motion, and it is a sideways figure 8. In other words, it's an infinity sign that I'm creating here and over here. And there's an X in the middle to connect the two circles. Circle here and a circle there. That motion right there, and that the body mechanic to make that happen, to me, is much, much more important than learning all the different variations. So you want to get there as fast as you can, because that's where you're going to be able to do what I call the blender technique, the flail type stuff. So that is more like using the arm waving stuff and with the body mechanics combined more in the practical direction. So that's where I want to take you guys as fast as possible. The variations you could always do on your spare time. There's an infinite number of it to explore and have fun with. You know, if you're lost on a deserted island, you could have fun trying to discover as many variations as you can find. So that can always be done, you know, but right here, the solid body mechanics of, you know, the heaven 6 type motion. So this is your blender. I mean, this is what you're going to be using for combat. So I want to take you guys there as fast as possible. So please focus on just on the simple heaven 6, especially for a beginner. And that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.